Prime Minister Modi is in Moscow. He landed this afternoon for the first bilateral visit of his third term, and Russia is pulling out all the stops to welcome him. He got a red carpet welcome. Prime Minister Modi was received by Denis Manturov, the first Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, the same man who had received Xi Jinping last year when the Chinese president landed in Russia for a state visit. And this is a signal from Moscow. It is giving India the same importance as China. In a few moments, the Indian leader will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin over dinner. Now, this is a short trip. Modi will spend just 26 hours in Russia, and yet it's significant, especially because of the timing. It coincides with the NATO Summit in America. So tomorrow, when Modi and Putin sit down for bilateral talks, NATO leaders will be meeting in Washington, D.C. And the Kremlin has been quick to point this out. It says the West is quote-unquote jealous of Prime Minister Modi's visit. Now, we don't know about jealous, but the West will certainly be watching. The NATO did all they could to isolate Russia, and yet Russia remains close to the world's largest democracy, India. Its GDP is growing faster than Western powers, and it's nowhere close to losing the war in Ukraine, despite all the military support that the West has been giving Kiev. So in terms of messaging, Modi's visit to Moscow is quite significant. Before taking off from New Delhi, he issued a statement. Calling Putin his friend, Prime Minister Modi said, and I quote, "I look forward to reviewing all aspects of bilateral cooperation with my friend President Vladimir Putin and sharing perspectives on various regional and global issues." And Moscow has left no stone unturned to welcome him. Prime Minister Modi met President Vladimir Putin over dinner. The Russian president is adding a personal touch. He hosted Prime Minister Modi for dinner tonight, not at the Kremlin, but at his dacha. Now, dacha is the Russian term for an estate. Putin's dacha is right outside Moscow in a suburb called Novo Ogaryovo. That's where they had dinner tonight. It's an opportunity to talk to each other informally, to iron out any issues before the bilateral tomorrow. They also get a chance to talk privately over dinner and have a frank exchange of opinions on pressing issues. So this dinner will set the tone for the bilateral tomorrow. They in fact did the same in 2021 when Putin visited India. Prime Minister Modi had hosted him for dinner before the formal talks. So in a way, Putin is reciprocating the gesture. Tomorrow, Prime Minister Modi has a packed schedule. He will attend a reception and meet members of the Indian community in Russia. Then he'll visit the tomb of the unknown soldier. Now, this is a war memorial dedicated to Soviet soldiers, those who died during the Second World War. From here, Prime Minister Modi will head to an exhibition organized by Rosatom. That's Russia's civilian nuclear power conglomerate. Putin is expected to join Prime Minister Modi there, and after this, they will have bilateral talks at the Kremlin. That's the last engagement of the day, of Tuesday. And then on Tuesday evening, Modi will depart for Austria for the second and final leg of this visit. But let's focus on Russia for the moment. Why has Prime Minister Modi gone to Russia today? He's gone for the annual summit. India and Russia have had this for over 2 decades now. The leaders take turns visiting each other every year. Putin came the last time in 2021, and now Modi has gone. By the way, Modi went for such a summit in 2001 as well as the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India then. Putin was still the President of Russia. But coming back to the present, what will Modi and Putin discuss? 4 broad topics: trade, connectivity, energy and defense. They'll also try to resolve some challenges like the rupee-ruble trade. This mechanism was started 2 years ago. Due to Western sanctions, Russia was barred from the global banking network. So India and Russia started using their native currencies to settle import bills. India uses the rupee, Russia uses the ruble. It's a good way to continue trading with each other and bypass Western sanctions. But here's the flip side. While India buys lots of oil from Russia, Russia does not import a lot from India. And now it has a stockpile of Indian rupees, but nowhere to spend it. They'll have to find a way to fix this imbalance. So that is one challenge. The 2 sides are expected to expand their energy relationship through long-term contracts, where India commits to buying more oil and gas from Russia and securing supplies for the long term at competitive prices. This would help both sides. We'll see how much progress they can make here. The top focus of the talks will be defense. Russia is still India's biggest defense supplier. 60% of India's military equipment comes from there. So India cannot afford to alienate Russia, especially with the mounting security challenges on the border with China. New Delhi has two clear priorities here: pending deliveries and new contracts. That's what the Indian leader will focus on, pending deliveries and new contracts. Some of the Russian deliveries are running late, like the S-400 missile defense system. India wants to speed it up. The other challenge is that China is getting closer to Russia. So will this hurt India's defense relationship with Russia? New Delhi has to ensure that it doesn't. So they're looking at a defense pact, something that Moscow cleared last month. A defense logistics agreement that could be signed tomorrow. We don't have the details yet, but reports say this pact could enhance interoperability between the two militaries, Indian and Russian. There is also a small irritant which both sides are expected to address, and that is the recruitment of Indian citizens by the Russian military. Around 40 of them, 40 Indians, are still believed to be in Russia. New Delhi is seeking their prompt release. So a lot on the agenda. I expect significant outcomes from this brief visit. The messaging, like we said, is quite clear. Russia is still an important partner for India, and that is not changing anytime soon.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.